Okay.
Okay. Welcome to tonight's debate, Hermosa Beach City Council chambers. We have two people running for the treasurer's position, John Workman and David Cohn, and they're going to give an opening statement of 2 minutes each, and then they will give a rebuttal statement of 1 minute each. And David won the toss of the coin to go first.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you here. Imagine you had $24 million under management and your management advisor told you that you earned less than 0.5% for the last year. What would you do? How many of you would fire this individual? Unfortunately, the rate of return the city treasurer, John Workman, has earned in the last year in our city's $24 million has been about that rate. That's why I'm running for city treasurer, and I intend to improve our investment performance by 3 times over. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've lived in Hermosa Beach for 14 years. My son, daughter-in-law, and 2 grandchildren live here as well. I graduated from Washington University Business School in St. Louis. I have over 40 years of management experience in corporate finance with such firms as Beatrice Foods, City National Bank, which is headquartered in Beverly Hills, and I also sat on a bank board. I am a licensed general securities principal and rep, and I have those same credentials in the state of California. I've checked out the city's local rates of other cities in terms of their investment portfolio, and I find something very shocking, that many of those cities, most of them, have rates that investment returns that exceed 1.25% to 1.7% better than what we did, and they have the same investment restrictions that we have. I would like John to explain to me why we have 98% of our funds invested in one fund called the Local Area Investment Fund. I call on John to please tell us why he can take $28,500 in salary and benefits, medical benefits, and earn the city $135,000 and have 98% of our investment decisions made by somebody else. If I'm elected, I will work with the City Council to enact and put together a written investment policy. I will encourage the city policymakers to establish a finance committee made up of council members and citizens to tackle the challenges we have with our city budget, both current and in the future. I have the experience to get this job done and do the job that is expected for this wonderful city of Hermosa Beach. I appreciate your vote on November 8th. David Cohn, thank you.
Thank you, David. John?
I love Hermosa Beach. I want you to know that. I came to Hermosa Beach in 1941 just as a very small child. My dad was a banker with Bank America. There is nothing that I wouldn't do to help Hermosa Beach at this point in time. However, I don't believe in putting our situation in danger. And one of the things that my opponent has talked about is CDs, 3-month CDs, 6-month CDs, and these returns. Those returns are dangerous. They are not safe. I have some numbers here that very possibly he knows, but he doesn't mention. First of all, since the beginning of this year, we've lost 770 banks this year that have gone broke. Now, a CD is a contract with that bank or a bank. That's all it is. And whenever you have 700 banks going under in 1 year, you've got a very, very dangerous situation. My feeling is safety first, liquidity second, and yield last. In other words, I don't feel that yield is that big a factor when you're looking at dangerous investments. And he fails to mention that I have an investment that I made in May 22nd or 23rd that is paying 1.8. It's a 2-year investment, and it came along because I've got a broker that calls me at 6 o'clock in the morning and said, hey, I found something that maybe you're interested in. Of course I was interested in it. Anything that can beat the local agency fund pool is worth it. However, we have total liquidity of our total portfolio available in 24 hours with LAIF. And LAIF is the thing that pays our bills every month. It's the thing that pays our payroll. It's the thing, that liquidity has got to be there and got to be maintained, and we can't risk it on investment at this time, especially when nothing is earning anything. Even the 1.8 that I have is just chicken feed. So my whole feeling is safety first, liquidity second, that pays my bills. And by the way, Orange County failed in their liquidity, and that's what caused them to crash, and it was a $3 billion screw-up. So when you stop and think about those kind of things, you understand that I do know what I'm talking about. And I've been a city treasurer for 18 years. He hasn't been a city treasurer ever. And he's talking about banks because he's a banker. And 770 banks failing this year, guess what? I'm not going to fall into that trap.
Can you summarize?
Pardon?
Can you take 15 seconds to summarize?
Yeah, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I talked to the treasurer in the city of Redondo a couple days ago, and he said, I've got maturing investments, and he said, I don't know what I'm going to do, because they're going to have to go into LAIF just like everything else does at this point in time, because it's too dangerous for me to look for anything else. As my investments mature, he was putting them in LAIF too. It's a no-brainer.
Thanks. David, 1 minute rebuttal.
John, I subscribe to safety just as you do. I'm talking about CDs that are federally insured, and I don't know how you can get safer than that, if you ever heard of FDIC. Secondly, this investment you made in GE Capital Corp notes, which you're referring to, does not have a yield of 1.8%. It has a yield to maturity of 1.4%. So you're not as accurate as you spoke there. The third thing that I must tell you, that in all this process, there are other means of investment securities that we can go into, which takes time, attention, and focus. And I call that laddering. And we can go into Treasury bills, we can go into Treasury securities, and get safety all day long.
Okay, thanks, David. John?
Well, I just want to add to what he's talking about when he's talking about the safety of his CDs. First of all, they're guaranteed by who? They're guaranteed by FDIC, right? FDIC went broke August 22nd. They totally liquidated their money. They are now $2 billion behind and waiting for the feds to come along and hopefully come up with something. Well, we know that the feds don't have any money. So where's this secure investment and insurance going to lead us if we do have a failure? I think it's important that we all take a look at that and understand that. So again, it's safety, liquidity, and then yield. Yield last. And by the way, I am a professional treasurer.
Thanks, John. Okay, that's our treasurers debate.
We don't any more time?
These will be replaying on Channel 8 and Channel 31. You can check the times, generally 12 noon, 7 p.m., unless there's a